Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Guys, today looks like we're going to be working on the big Monarch Lathe. Got an issue that came up this thing kind of unexpectedly. I was getting ready to do some turning here on my cane mills. I got another video that will now be coming out later of me getting everything ready set up to do this turning. But when I came over here and turned my lathe on and tried to engage it, I went to engage it and pulling the lever, nothing was happening. Don't know exactly what's going on. I have some suspicions of what may be going on, but I don't know exactly what's going on. But I suspect I have a feeling that I know what's going on, and to get to it, to inspect and see what's going on, we're going to have to take some stuff apart here on this machine, and I really don't know exactly what I'm going to be getting into, but all I know to do is get into it and dig in and try to find it. So let me show you what's going on. Let me show you what I suspect is wrong, and let's start tearing into this thing and see if we can figure it out. So here's the deal. This handle right here, whenever you pull it up and push it down, this is what engages and disengages the headstock, what gets it turning. And right now when you do this, it's not actually actuating the part on the other side of the machine that should be actuating to engage things. I know from my parts manual, I've got a breakdown of this right here, and I'll show you this a little bit in a minute, but there's this shaft comes in right here. On the inside of this panel, there's a bevel gear, and that bevel gear changes the direction of a shaft. It goes through the other side, and that's what moves a lever up and down. My suspicion is that something's going on with this bevel gear, maybe sheared a pin or something in it. I will also note that this lathe has power traverse on it. There's a motor in there that's constantly turning a shaft, and whenever you do it, one of these rods, I can't remember which one it is constantly turning. And I know that the motor's turning, but the shaft isn't turning, and there's a bevel gear in there, and I have long suspected that bevel gear has sheared a pin and it's not turning. Here's the parts diagram. You can see here's the handle, and that handle goes to this shaft, and as you can see there's a little bevel gear on the inside. This plate right here is this plate. And the power traverse, just got a little inset up here. It shows the same thing. There's a shaft that comes in, and there's a bevel gear that goes to another shaft that runs 90 degrees to it. And I think both of those bevel gears may have issues. Let's see what we can do to get into it. I think the first thing we're going to do is this plate right here mounts up kind of beside this gearbox, and you look, there's a access point right here. There's a cover that covers that up, and I'm hoping I can take this cover off and look down there with a flashlight and get a better idea of what's going on. So let's see if we can get that cover off. Looks like there's two Allen screws holding it in, and we'll see if we can get it off. I see three on the actual part, but we'll see if we can get in there and get it off. So this is that cover, that plate, that I'm hoping I can look down in here and see what's going on. Now I can see one, two, and a third screw right there holding this in place. It's covered up with crud and paint and whatever. I'm gonna have to kind of get in here and dig these out to be able to get a socket cap screw in these, get an Allen wrench in them. And I'm probably going to scratch up my paint job, but I got more paint. I'm not worried about that. We got to get into it. That's what we got to do. Let's see what will happen here. That one out. That one out of there. All right, let's see if we can get that one. There we go. It's in a tight spot. I can't make a full circle on it. We can get it out of there. All right. Now, I'm gonna get a razor and just try to cut this paint joint line here, because I'm sure it's gonna want to be stuck together. Take a little plastic bin, put all my hardware and stuff in it as I take it apart, just so we don't lose anything. I'm just going to kind of go around this with a razor blade at this joint. That paint's going to want to hold it all together. I'm going to come in here and start tapping this. See if I can break it loose. It is moved. All right, I got to figure out how to get it out of there though. It needs to kind of come to me. See if I can get something to kind of hook it and try to pull it out. All right, I got a little crack back here now. Let me get a pry bar behind that. Let's see what'll happen here. Oh yeah. All right, that wasn't near as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's the first time I've looked down in here. See if I can figure out what's going on. I can see those bevel gears. Huh. So, I know you guys can't see this, but I'm moving the handle and the gear on the inside is not moving. So that kind of confirms my suspicion. There's probably a pin in that gear that is sheared out, because that should be rotating that spindle and it's not. So now the question is how are we going to get in there to fix it? And I'm afraid that the answer is we're going to have to pull all this whole case off just to get down there to it, because I cannot get down through this hole. It's way too tight, and there's a bunch of stuff between here and there to get to it. That's not going to work. So, okay, let's figure out what we'll do next. There's another cover on this end down here. Let me go ahead and get it off. There's a couple of bolts holding it in place as well. Like before, I'm going to just take a razor and cut these paint joints. It's already coming apart here. All right, just another aluminum cover on this end. All right, so before I get into this any deeper, I think I may be on the lucky side here. This is the gear, the bevel gear, and I can clearly see that when I move this handle that it's not turning. But I can also look at this diagram. I see a hole right there, and I see over here in the handle, you don't see it in the drawing, but you see it on there, there's a tapered pin coming through this side over here. I'm hoping that that pin is broken on the outside and not on the inside. I was thinking this gear was pinned on the inside were on this side of the gear, but it looks like it's pinned on the outside of the lathe, which if that's the case, it's going to keep me from having to take this thing completely apart, which will be a godsend. So let me look at that a little bit closer and see if we can get lucky there. Get in here and start by just trying to clean that up a little bit where I can work around it. There's a bunch of just crud. Just going to come in here with a set of vice grips. Try to get on that pin. Oh yeah, look at there, it's broken. I believe that's the problem. Believe that's it. Let me see if there's any more of that pin. There's probably still a piece of that pin in there. Probably, Ideally, what you would want to do with these tapered pins is take a punch and punch it out from the inside. Everything's got to come out this top, though, because it's tapered. It doesn't go through. You can't punch it through. So I'm sure that the bottom slug of that is still in there. So we've still got to get that cleared out. So what I may do is see if I can take this shaft off, get that pin knocked out, and see if we can pull this whole handle off, and then I could maybe get on that gear in there and knock it out a little bit easier. I'm just thinking out loud. Let's see if I can get this other pin to come out. All right, I'm just kind of prying it up. There it comes out. And yeah, it was partially sheared down here at the very bottom of this. I need to get this little square rod pulled out so that I can separate them to the other end. And do that, I got to take this end cap off because it kind of holds it in place. So there's a couple of cap screws holding it on. Got one more down here on the bottom. I've got to get an extension to get in there. There we go. Now that ought to come off. There we go. We got to get the gear separated here, or from the handle separated. And I'm afraid we still got some pin in there that's going to make it difficult to do. I really need to get something up underneath the bottom. Let me see if I can get a punch in there and kind of see if I can knock anything that's in there out. So let's see if we can get creative. I've got a dowel pin here. I'm going to come in from the bottom of this. I can find it. There we go. And I'm going to take a clamp here. And I'm going to see if I can just push it up from the bottom. Just to be stubborn. All right, as I've wiggled this thing around, I've got it in a position where it's actually actuating the clutch again, which tells me the pin is at least partially engaged back in that hole. So I'm hoping that we can get it kind of in a position where it'll be lined up enough to push it out. All right, that pin's a little bit shorter, but I can get a bigger clamp in here maybe. That didn't do anything. I think I'm still up against the shaft itself. Well, guys, I have spent way too much time trying to get this pin out and have just been totally unsuccessful. And as I'm sitting here contemplating what I need to do, ultimately, I've got to put a new pin in here. I've got another tapered pin. You know, I was going to try to get it drilled out and put it in there, but then I got to look and I said, you know, there's no way for me to drill and clean that hole out in the position that it's in. So why not just leave that broken pin in there? It's not hurting anything. And we're just going to put a new pin in here. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come in kind of right here where I can come straight in with my drill and go in at an angle rather than straight across. It's not going to hurt anything. I'm going to be past the center point right here. It should be just fine. You know, there's no reason why we have to get that out. So I'm gonna put a block of wood in there to kind of hold that up while I'm drilling. And we're just gonna take a drill, we're gonna drill a hole and we're gonna ream it out for that tapered pin. And I think that'll solve the problem. So this is a number 5 tapered pin. It takes a 1/4 inch hole, and then what I'll have to do is come back in with a reamer, which I've got one around here somewhere that's the right size, and we'll ream the taper, which is a 1/4 inch per foot taper, and then we'll drive this pin home. And hopefully that'll fix the problem. So let's just do it. I'm gonna go right in here in this middle, and like I said, I'm gonna go at a little bit of angle. All right, I'm into the steel hub now, out that cast iron, and I'm into the steel, and my battery died. Let me get a new battery. I think I'm into that other pin now. It's gotten hard in there. And that pin is probably hard. That's not doing anything. Dang. I'm just going to put a new drill bit in here. That drill bit was kind of mangled up. Let's see what we can do here. I think what it is that shaft, that gear shaft that's in there is hard. Now what are we going to do? All right, let me think about this. I think what it is I'm down to that hardened hub again. It's not going to drill through it. All right. Put my thinking cap back on. Well, I went and sharpened my drill bit after I stripped all the teeth off of it, and I seem to be making some progress here. We're all the way through. I don't know if that's 1/4 inch or not. Let me measure it. All right, I think I can get a tapered reamer down in here now. See if I can ream that out. Let me see if I can get a handle in here that'll get up here where I can turn it, and see if we can ream that out. We may be about to knock this thing out, I'm hoping. All right, I got a tapered reamer. having to kind of jury rig things here. I found me a tap holder that had a socket holder, it's a 3/8 inch socket in it. So, and I got a power driver here. I'm gonna see if we can ream that thing out. Can't tell if it's reaming or not. It's hard down in that bottom. I think all I'm doing is ruining my reamer. When it gets down that hard bottom right down there, it's just, I can see where it's wearing the things out. Dadgummit. All right, let me do some more thinking here. We're getting there. Not there yet, but we're getting there. Well, I do have a hole that's 1/4 inch all the way through this thing. So I think what I'm gonna do is just put a roll pin in this thing. That's a 1/4 inch roll pin. I think it'll go in there. All right, and I think that to kind of make it even a little bit better, since I've already got this hole started right here, I think I'm gonna drill and tap that. It's already drilled, but I'm gonna tap it for a set screw, and we'll put a set screw in there too at an angle. That hole I can see where it dimpled the hardened shaft in there, so I'm hoping if I get a set screw in that little dimple, that'll just give me a little bit more positive action in there, and it should be fine. I wish I could get a tapered pin in there, but right now we're just going to do what we can do. So let me figure out, I'm going to probably have to drill it to a different size. That was 1/4 inch. I'll have to figure out what I need to go up the next size, and we'll put a set screw in there. All right, 5/16 18 is what we're going to shoot for here. I've got a letter F drill bit in here. All right, now I need to get a tap, and we'll tap and put a bottom tap in there and then put a set screw in. All right, that's to the bottom. And now I've got a bottom tap, which will cut threads all the way to the bottom. All right. All right, that is definitely actuating things. So now we can just put this back together. I think we'll have this fixed, and we got to put the rest of the lathe back together too. All right, we'll get this back in here. I'm just using the carriage of the lathe to kind of move that in there. Since I've got this reamer set up already, I'm just going to ream it just real lightly. And just make sure we have a good fit for our new reamer, our new pin to go in there. And I do have a brand spanking new, even one a little bit larger. I've got a new tapered pin to go in here, but I had to go up a size. I had a number 5 taper pin here before. I've had to go up to a number 6. So we're having to ream it to make it fit. So I've got a number 6 reamer here, and we're just kind of taking it a little bit at a time. And I'm gonna get that down to where it fits a little bit more. Not much more, just a little bit. And drive that home. And I think we've got our new setup here going like it needs to. So that should fix that. There was a lot of play in this end, not anymore. So needed repair. Let's put this cover back on. Tighten all these down one more time. And we'll get the back covers on. Before I do, I think I want to fire it up and just make sure that this thing is working like it should. All right, let's fire up. And ha-ha! We got power. That's good. Man, that is crazy. I don't know why that pin decided to go right there when it did, but it did. But that was something that's been needing to be done. Like I said, there was been some play in this for a while. I could feel it, and now we got it all like it needs to be, and our lathe is back to going. Well, that's kind of the way it is sometimes with old machinery. You just have to fix it from time to time to keep it going. You know, some guys don't like fooling with that. I kind of enjoy it. You know, it's frustrating when you come out here and something doesn't just fire right up and go, but you know, once we get these little things done, they're usually fixed from now on, and you don't have to worry about that anymore. This lathe is overall in excellent shape. I knew we had some play down here in this, and I just hadn't taken the time to fix it, and it made me take the time to fix it today. Glad I did. When things like this happen, guys, you just have to put on your thinking cap and be a detective and come in here and figure it out. You know, I was fortunate that I had at least a parts diagram for this, so I kind of knew what I was getting into. I thought going into this, we were going to have to take this whole front end apart. It was nice that I had that diagram, and I saw, okay, what was going on, and I could fix it on the outside. Honestly, the way this was put together, you know, those pins were put in at the factory, and they were never intended to come back out again. And that's a problem, you know, when it comes down to time to do maintenance on something like this. You got to be able to get those pins back out. I don't know if there's a better way of doing it, but it's frustrating when you have to deal with that. And today, that was half the challenge, getting just in here and figuring it out. You got to be a detective. You got to figure it out. And that's what we did. So now we can get back to what I originally came out to the shop to do today, which was turn this roller. And you're going to get to see the end of this video that I'd actually started before we got onto this. That's going to probably come out after this, obviously, but it's already, I've spent all day long working on this. I've had some other things going on today too, but it's taken me all day long just to get to this point. So now, probably next day in the shop, we'll get these turned. Frustrating, puts me behind, but it's just part of the deal. So there you go. Guys, with that, that's a wrap. As always, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Those thumbs up and comments are always greatly appreciated. Hit that bell icon up there to get notifications when new videos are posted. And as always, a big thank you to those who support the site financially through Patreon, PayPal, etc. Enables me to take the time to shoot the videos and bring you guys all these fun things that we have to deal with out here. With that, guys, we're going to sign off. Catch you on the next video again. Thanks for watching.